They're mad. They're pissed.
All right,
They
well,
want to die.
we got a draft coming here, Slacks. We'll see how pissed they are here. Remember, best of one.
This is huge.
What do we got? Whoa! It's first pick Warlock.
Whoa, haven't seen that.
Alliance gets to start off with it. So they got first pick and they have Dire. In the games against EG, I believe it was always EG with first pick on Radiant.
Yeah.
So
I think Complexity likes Radiant, is what I remember when I watched yesterday. They picked Radiant.
Admiral Kunkka.
Oh, well, Kunkka coming up.
Okay.
I like that. I think Z-Freak's Kunkka is amazing. He did not perform in Game 3 of their series versus EG. Just a lot of X-Torrent combos,
Yeah.
but in his first 2 games, I think he played amazing. I don't know what it was, fatigue, miscommunication, what.
I think it was because they were trying to communicate. Like, he missed a lot of the Stun Strike X combos. I think that was the biggest thing, trying to communicate. You're probably not used to doing that, and just missed a few of them. Those could have been huge kills.
Yeah.
It's all the difference for the Invoker early on.
But now they had time to rest. I do think Fatigue played a little bit, but now they're ready. They just got to rest up. I saw Swindle actually watching the last game in the crowd. He was preparing.
Yeah.
Very smart bans, though, from Alliance here. We've talked a lot about the Leshrac. For Swindle Melons, not something they want to deal with.
Has it been banned every game versus them?
Yes.
That's
Yes,
just insane. A hero, like, no one else plays, they play. I just don't think people know how they win with it, honestly. I think people are like, that's not that good of a hero, but they win with it consistently.
I haven't caught the matches yet, but the fact that everybody's banning it maybe says that it's something that Swindles is ultra confident on, and his other support heroes are okay, but not great.
Yeah.
And I still think it has to do some of with just he's such a good punishing hero. You win a few early team fights and you can just take over the game so early. You know,
Because of the towers, right?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I like the first 2 Complexity picks are both Cancel and Z-Freak heroes.
10 seconds remaining.
The roaming, I mean, more than likely it's going to be Z-Freak Kunkka. I don't think they're going to... Well, I could be wrong. Who knows? And there's the Juggernaut.
It's still open-ended, though. One of the great things about a draft like this, it makes it a little bit more hard to read for Alliance Juggernaut. We've talked about a lot, some nice synergy with Warlock, some healing power between the two.
Just a little surprise. I mean, this is a pretty standard draft from both teams. So. I thought I'd see a little bit of more gusto, a little bit of hot sauce here.
But don't you think both teams think they're better than the other team? So if you're the better team, don't you want to play your draft?
Well, that's a very complicated question.
No, not really. They both think they're better, so they're going to play what they think is better.
Oh, yes, but you bring up so many complicated things.
You gotta limit him to like yes or no questions.
Okay. Do you think that you have
That was
any
the end
idea
of the
what you're
question.
doing?
It was just, do you think?
Yes! I've done it, yes, sir.
I think
Once or twice.
clearly the most interesting thing at this point is going to be Monkeys, right? Batrider's gone, we're
What's he
moving to the
play?
second phase. What are we going to do, and
So,
how are they going to match them up?
What other offlaners do we have available that are pretty prevalent right now? Some teams really valuing Darkseer. Obviously, some teams really valuing Clockwork.
Axe and Sand King? Or
Axe, Sand
We
King.
haven't seen Axe
No.
once this
Not
tournament.
even
Now,
bans.
we did
Same with Sand
see-
King, really. Not much. We saw him the
We saw
first
Sand
day.
King the first day, but not Axe
Not
once, I
today.
don't think, which is crazy. I still think it's a really good hero.
FDL did first ban Axe against Wings one
Okay.
game. I think that's the only time we've seen Axe
Okay.
touch.
Well, there it is again. They heard us.
God, you're good.
I mean, that's a Jonas fan, Jonas hero,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
now we're in the second phase.
Is there a possibility they somehow give an off lane, they switch it up, that could be a switch up Slack's time, if they give an off laner to Moo and give the Terrorblade to Monkeys in the safe lane?
Whoa, dude, that would be
Hey,
That
pretty
is
good.
his other hero he's known for, and I mean, they can switch roles. I doubt they'll do it, but
I like where your head's at.
I don't think it's that wild to
it's not
consider
that
it
wild,
for
I
sure.
don't think, yeah. We haven't seen Terrorblade much one game.
I also think Terrorblade is a great best of one type hero.
Sure.
You know, he's kind of a one-trick pony, but in certain drafts, it's like, uh-oh, how are they going to deal with this Terrorblade? And he, you know, puts a lot of pressure on very early.
Do you guys think they're still tiny though? I mean, it's against a Juggernaut, it's a little iffy, but it was clearly Moose. I hear that Moose
Comfort,
Yeah,
fantastic at the first 2.
Also a comfort hero for Limp. I mean, Tiny could be an option for both sides.
it's a very good point there. And I have to agree with you there, Perch. I mean, in that last series that we saw with Complexity, that Tiny really shaped how they did their team fight. It moved a lot of guys around, was tossing them the whole time, and with that control that Move provided, it was really the only way that they came back against E-Home in one game, and then almost came back in another.
Well, there they go though. So now it's what, Void and Clock.
Yep,
as
how
the
many
advantage
off-laners?
before,
Yeah.
Natural off laners.
in terms of the more common ones we've seen lately. I suppose the Timber's still out there as well, which we will probably have to consider. Not often we do see it in the off lane, but more so that like solo safe lane if you can get in some sort of like aggressive pressure, which could be open to Alliance there with the Warlock and the Jug perhaps.
I want to reference the Darkseer again, because I feel like he's been in a weird state this tournament. He's been first banned against teams that are notorious for picking him, and if you don't have that reputation, he's been pretty much ignored. We haven't seen any Darkseer picks yet, I don't think, only bans.
I feel like Jug can deal with them very well
Yeah.
as a safe lane carry, so maybe they're partially covering themselves in that way.
That's very true, yeah.
It used to be an old staple of coL in their last
Yeah.
roster at least.
Swindle's big
Swindle
Swindle's
was,
hero. probably the best one. I mean, Bando most games first phase against them, much like the Leshrac, in fact.
Yeah.
Trying to think, Complexity, they could do, I know they're one of the other teams who has done Furion besides MJW on FDL, they could pull that. I mean, decent versus Juggernaut, I guess, not as great versus Warlock, but with only 2 picks in, they've slowed down. They're both taking quite a bit of their time, which gotta do.
I feel like we'll be seeing a Vengeful Spirit in this game.
Oh,
For Complexity?
Sure.
what about an Oracle?
No, that's also a pretty good pick as well. Been in favor of that in the tournament a lot. A lot of burst, a lot of heals, a lot of saves. And if you're up against the Juggernaut, better have some kind of B plan because he's great.
I was hoping you were gonna rhyme that for it.
Gonna be pretty cray. And if you want to, you could. Thanks, Butch.
Yeah, Oracle, we saw Swindle play, what, 2 games in the first series?
Yeah, he played it pretty well, I thought.
Yeah, I thought he played it well. He missed a few of the Purify plus purges off at the end, but that's not the worst thing you can do on that hero.
The only mistakes he made is he was too aggressive in his position. It's one of those like, I want to fight, and you're in the front, but then you really shouldn't be in the front. You have to counter-initiate.
Couple false promises, maybe missing out onto a cancel as well in that TA. Couple pretty dire moments.
Especially at the end there. I remember that one fight in particular. It was like,
You're looking up top, you're like, oh, well, it's green. You know, and it's there, but...
now, this is weird, but I want to bring it up just because it was part of our prep that came up. Complexity did play a core Lina mid not that long ago. I think within the last 10 days.
Was that Drow always, though? Wasn't it like a Drow Lina?
You might be right. It might be only with Drow.
And they already have Mirana and Kunkka. One of those has to be Cancel's hero.
Okay, yeah,
That's the thing with those 2 heroes
Oracle
coming
mid,
out. Hey, that nuke at level 7, you get that early, that's a lot of damage.
it's a free last hit every 3 waves.
It is.
Complexities.
Lion.
To pick.
Or not so popular right now in the EU region.
I feel like they definitely tiny now. That's a Lion Warlock.
Oh yeah, a burst damage could kill both those guys instantly, right, buddy?
That is why he is picked.
As long as Tiny's HP is high enough, he doesn't care that much about disables, I feel. It's decent against Juggernaut. For craggy reasons.
And you can toss back the spin as well if
Yeah.
it's some crazy thing.
That's a really good point.
I
feel
like it.
It's fairly straightforward here now.
But do they want to do the same thing they did when they lost versus Eom? Because they're almost picking the same thing. And obviously, Alliance saw that in the first series.
They
What are-
won
what are they
the
gonna play
one
this for?
tiny game, though, right?
They did,
The-
yeah,
the
they
Alp.
did.
Aww.
I think it's good.
I think it's
agree.
worth it, especially on somebody like Moo that you know is going to be able to do something even if the other team is prepared for it. I still think that it's a pretty good investment to put it on that. So, well,
10
Ogre
seconds
still in the pool
remaining.
here also, I think.
Ogre
They're out
Bikini.
of, they have to miss a whole side at least.
5 seconds remaining.
Alliance,
yeah,
yeah,
support
both
More
both
than
support
likely as
stuff.
well. Yeah.
Oh,
The move, Beastmaster,
Alliance's turn
Classic.
to pick.
I would think that you give that to Moo, to be honest, but I wonder...
for sure. I think they kind of needed it because their setup for Jug was difficult. You can't do an X combo, landing an arrow is difficult. Just get something that gives you a guaranteed stun, and then you can follow up after.
And do you know what
Yeah.
teams almost always
10
preface terribly
seconds
picks with? And that's big, like, aggressive kind of vision. Spot scouts and
Vengeful
stuff.
Spirit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
boy.
there you go.
Here
Could be
it
the Venge
comes.
as well. That would
They-
be super
they
solid with the
actually
Beastmaster.
Swap into arrow.
Got him. Whoa. This would be pretty hype, Purge. Look at that.
The synergy's off the charts.
All right, any pick guesses for Alliance here?
I think we're looking
This
at some
is-
pretty heavy early push potential from Complexity if they want to go back into like that late game Venge or even late draft Venge or TD. But
Alliance can still go.
I would
multiple
look out
ways.
for that.
What about
Nope.
Legion?
I want Alliance to play Venno.
Someone
I
to
want to see a
purge
core
off.
Venno here.
What about a Mag?
Ooh, the Magnus
Magnus
Jug.
Jug, very nice.
An Alliance classic.
Yes,
What's on his horn, by the way? Look at the top of his horn. What is
Slacks?
Yeah, that is a weight.
that? For what?
It keeps it down. Everyone's always trying to take his horn away, and that keeps it firmly on his head.
That
Isn't it a magnet?
sounds like a complete lie. How
No.
would that?
That's
When
not a
they
magnet.
grab the people,
It looks
the
a-
RP.
It looks a little high up on the horn.
Yeah,
no,
that
no.
up there?
No, it keeps it down. You know how you have like weights on a baseball bat?
Couldn't
to
you just cut his
practice?
horn off halfway then?
Oh, you trying to get that close to a magnet, bro? He'll cut you.
I thought it was to tip his horn so that he can,
Oh,
poke things without the
yes.
horn breaking.
So
Tip his horn.
a tip of my horn to you, fellow warriors. I must move on.
Timber Salt 5th ban here from
10
Complexity.
seconds remaining.
Shaping up to be a pretty good draft for Alliance. So now they've got a lot of great team fight. You've got
5
Warlock Gold,
seconds
RP,
remaining.
natural synergy with the Juggernaut and Empower. Now he's going to be able to farm like a madman. We've seen Battle Fury go completely by the wayside, but this gives you kind of the best of both worlds.
Yep.
And a lot of good control with the Lion on top of that. So this is...
Who plays the Magnus Alliance? I know they played it before.
I assume it'll be Limp.
and put it in
Yeah.
the middle. I know we've seen some teams play it offlane. I didn't know if Jonas played it.
It's not a Jonas hero, I don't think at all. I don't think he plays it.
Well, there we go. Low to Lifestealer.
Okay.
Oh, wait.
Turn to pick.
Yeah. Look at aggro.
They could. It's definitely that is definitely his hero. So now they know they love that pick. They wasted a lot of time. Not wasted. They used a lot of time for those picks. That one was instantaneous. They're like Lifestealer, perfect. Even versus Beastmaster.
Yeah, it's not as
both.
good as it used to be.
Yeah.
But why are they aggro trying with line? I feel like that's if they're gonna do dual lanes,
If he
then
dies once,
Is it not just Jug mid and Magnus offlane though?
I think it might be now.
why make it off lane? I guess they can.
Then there it is. The TV.
Yay.
Nice one.
Interesting. I think the only thing, I mean, Lion obviously can destroy those illusions pretty well, but overall, if they win one fight on complexity, they just take your base like instantly with that Beastmaster Terrorblade.
Yep.
I think theirs is a lot more straightforward on how to win the game.
I think it's like Venge TB was a super popular combo for a while, but once that one started to fall off, it really was a lot of Beastmaster TB. They
Yeah.
synergized so well together with the aura, and again, that vision just to make sure, because obviously, Terrorblade's already kind of survivable, like he's pretty tricky with the illusions around the map and stuff, but that extra vision from the Hawk, it's just very clutch.
It
Yang.
does make sense, yeah. Why the bench was not picked in favor of the Beastmaster.
Yep, there's that complexity chant we can hear in the background as they get hyped. We need a round of predictions here, boys, before we hand it over to the casters. Let's start on the other end. Grant, who's taking this one?
I think complexity, I think they both got lineups they wanted, but I feel like theirs is just easier to do, and they have like just stronger mid-game heroes, and we've seen the mid-game be mostly about when teams win.
Yeah, I agree as well. Actually, I think they're gonna be able to pressure early enough before things like Magnus and Power is gonna accelerate Alliance into a farm event.
Okay. And they do have comfortable heroes. Monkeys on Terrorblade, I assume.
Trent, I think I could see the pressure coming down and slowing down the Terrorblade. I think Alliance are pretty good at aggro try. They practice it quite a bit. So I think they could have the keys to successfully slow them down enough and take the game for Alliance.
Your alliance. Okay, I'm gonna go complexity as well.
Gonna have to go with complexity on this one.
Believe in the TB.
I believe in the TB, I believe in friendship, and I believe in that Dota is not a fairy tale. Even though they stole their players, still come out in the end.
Thanks a lot for that, Slacks. It warmed everyone's heart. With that said, it's time for the casters. We've got Annie and Cap for this best of one elimination match.
All right, thanks, Sayori. Very excited for this. It is down to the wire. We are in an elimination best of one shot, one opportunity to stay in this series. Cap, what are your thoughts about the draft?
I'm thinking complexity do have a little bit more straightforward. They've got some cores that are just inherently strong versus Lifestealer and Jug. I feel like the Terrorblade, Mirana, and even the Beastmaster to a certain extent are all good versus those two cores.
Oh.
Alliance, if they're going to win, it's going to be off the back of Magnus.
Complexity looking to get things started off nicely. They got this high ground, and it looks like they're going to be looking for some easy picks here. If they can get Loda right now, that'd be fantastic. How are they going to start things off? It looks like Swindles channeling up, and they are going to get a nice little double purge. Are they going to be able to follow up the torrent connecting on 3? They got an arrow as well. Cancel starting to focus, and they do get a nice little Earth Spike coming back on, but Wild Axe is coming in. Cancel gets the first blood by killing Loda. That's where the blood's going to stop, but what an amazing rotation in by Complexity.
I'm not sure what Alliance was thinking. You know, the instinctual thought to like group up when danger comes, that's a nice idea, but I have no idea. I don't think I've ever seen an Oracle actually hit 3 people with Fortune's End like that.
The follow-up with the
but-
torrent
and
was
then
amazing
yeah,
as
at
well.
least straight into a torrent and to an arrow. That felt rather silly. Alliance very easily could have dodged that gank if they just like played back with whatever heroes was being hit by Fortune's End, and then they could have even potentially just gotten Rage on Lifestealer and body blocked the arrow. But they just kind of like got caught inside torrent into an arrow and give away an early first blood to this aggro tri-lane, which is already going to be hard enough for Alliance to deal with.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how this is working out. This Terrorblade, I am so eager for it. Do you think it's going to be hitting great timings, or is Monkey's going to have some difficulty?
I think to start off, I think the aggro tri-lane can put pretty good pressure in. The Terrorblade is just like a high damage, high physical damage hero, which is always good to have versus the Lifestealer and your range, so you're able to have a bit of an advantage there as well. Illusions are always good versus Lifestealer on top of that. So I think the laning phase should go all right for them in the first couple of minutes, but I think they eventually will have to move their tri-lane down to bottom as the Warlock does get trickier and trickier to deal with as lane goes on. His harassment potential is obviously one of the best out of all of the supports being run right now. And then going into the mid game, I think he's got really good chances to make big plays. I think Alliance really need a good start on both the Lion and the Magnus to be able to make the proper kind of rotations and initiations to keep the Terrorblade down.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at the draft and complexity. They've got great push. They've got pretty decent team fight, great rotations. What are Alliance's real strengths here? What do they want to get out of this match?
Part of the strengths that Alliance have is that they're running a double core setup. Both the Juggernaut as well as the Lifestealer are going to have good opportunities to be able to find farm around that 10 to 15 minute marker and still actually go past that thanks to the Magnus and the Empower, so they can do things like stack Ancients and reliably clear through that. They just have to make sure they don't give up too much of a laning phase advantage. They keep some of their early towers alive, especially those around the mid and bottom lane, because it helps protect their Ancients as well as Roshan, which is going to be a pretty key part of Alliance's high ground push, which is going to be a test for them. I think both sides can actually feel somewhat comfortable going up against each other, 35, 45, even 55 minutes into the game, just because initiation is going to mean so much for either side.
Yeah, up top we've just got this big wad of heroes. Meanwhile, down bottom it's going to be Magnus versus Moo solo. Moo back in his element on that Beastmaster. He's definitely going to be feeling good about this hero, but offlane Magnus, something we're not seeing a whole lot in the meta, but it seems like Jonas is getting a ton out of it.
Yeah, Magnus has been run a little bit mid recently, and we're seeing the power of this exact same kind of build, where you go for the early Empower, you use your extra attack damage to be able to get easier CS against the enemy, free denies, etc. And then we've actually seen it transmit.
Top lane, Z-Freak maybe in a little bit of trouble, just going to be harassed down. Loda looking for some more farm, but
Alliance really suffer, and they don't really have a whole lot of actual kill potential against this matchup. What they really have is just their harassment of the Warlock. That's the best way they can make this lane go in their favor. Try and abuse neutrals, and then, if possible, when, say, Z-Freak here tries to intercept the neutral pull and try and do something along those lines, try and link him into the neutrals, burn through their regen nice and easy.
yeah, I mean, once this hits towards the mid game, when everyone picks up their ultis and Alliance are grouping together, there is that insane wombo combo potential of, 5 hero skewer into the Warlock Chaotic offering that would be super dope, but
yeah, exactly.
definitely hard to execute.
They've got really good, it's a somewhat single core Terrorblade, and he's facing up against two heroes that have cleave. You know, and that's a little bit risky.
Ooh, oh, they're going back in here. Nice little Earth Spike, and there is going to be a nice Torrent as well. Looks like EGM getting very, very low. Purifying Flames by the Oracle. Not going to be enough to save him there. Warlock goes down. Z-Freak now stuck between two very unfriendly heroes. Monkeys comes in. Is Z-Freak actually going to get out of this? Loda looking to switch targets here. They want to go in onto Monkeys. Torrent does hit. Now Handskin running for his life. Oracle just going with the right clicks, and Swindles can finish off another.
Oh, Monkeys the juke!
Oh! Quelling Blade saves the day, and he's able to TP out Loda, meanwhile focusing down Swindles, and with this Fatal Bonds, maybe they can get him down.
Yeah, it looks like it's tied to the Siege Creep. Siege Creep has a lot of HP, so not much that poor Swindles can do about that scenario, but really good juke. Monkeys has proven himself in this tournament as actually having, these jukes have been really good. When he was playing the Bat Rider, we had certain, even though he didn't, win the laning phase a lot when he was supposed to, and he didn't necessarily have, the highest impact Bat Riders we've ever seen, he did play really good when the pressure was on him in team fights to be able to make the right kind of movements, and we see it there in the laning phase.
Yeah, back towards this mid lane, we're going to see a bit more action as supports start to join the party here, but Lim's gotten some really good space. Obviously, Cancel going to be prioritizing that early Aghanim Scepter, but Juggernaut's got a little flexibility, and he's definitely more of a killing machine towards that mid game.
Nice play here. Cancel making the read that the spin was an attempt to force him into a defensive leap, which obviously would have led into the line getting a successful rotation around, catching the Mirana without that escape mechanism. So he leaps farther down the river, escapes, and is even going to get that extra bit of value out of the neutrals in the process.
Alright, back up top, just trying to focus on Loda's farm. How important is it that Loda has a really successful lane here, or can he kind of leave some slack to Lim?
He can absolutely leave some slack. If they get the occasional kill, like on Swindles. Yeah.
Alright, bye Oracle.
This time, I don't know, the neutrals seem to be playing in Alliance's favor, right? The neutral denied the Warlock, and this time around, it weakened Swindles enough for
Dude,
Alliance
it's
to be able to get that quick kill.
You can feel it on him. That guy just wants you out of his turf.
The Satyr's the secret agent here for Alliance. A little bit of the spirit of Ake in the jungle creeps. That's what that is. You could still feel his Chenin Enchantress, even today, in Alliance.
Yeah, that's deep. Let's talk a bit about the bottom lane and how that's going, because Magnus getting a little bit of space, but obviously not a whole lot of pressure on Moo, and that Beastmaster is just a huge threat. Obviously, super experienced, complexity, know how to work around it. Moo, arguably one of the best Beastmasters in the scene. What does he want to do with that hero?
Well, first of all, he's not able to really keep the Magnus out of lane in levels 1, 2, and 3, I would say. But once he starts getting level 5, the boar starts getting so strong that it can shove the Magnus out of lane. And that's really where he gets the big CS advantage over the Magnus. But that's not that big of a deal. Magnus is not a hero. If you see him mid, right, he's not a hero. He's like Dragonite, say. He just wants to survive. He's going to get his CS. He's probably going to be beat in lane by all the technical measurements of like CS and maybe a kill or two or something like that. But for the most part, he succeeds in lane by just surviving and getting what he needs. He's going to have a much higher impact, much faster than the Beastmaster will. The Beastmaster is going to make that build up. Necronomicon 1, 2, 3. Meanwhile, the Magnus, his impact is going to be felt a lot sooner with his Blink Dagger, which obviously has an immediate impact in the game. And then it's also going to be felt in the Empower levels that he gets and how he's able to make both the Juggernaut and the Lifestealer be able to get that extra bit of farm. And that's another reason, right? That Lifestealer, there's not a ton of pressure on Lifestealer. You have to be top of the CS. Not at all. They just need to be able to survive, make sure they don't feed any extra kills to this aggro tri lane from Complexity, and trust in the fact that Limp is going to be doing well mid, and they have this Magnus that can make the Lifestealer come back into the game really easily.
How early do Alliance want to start to rotate and group up? Because now they've got the Jug Omni Slash, they've got the Magnus RP. Do they want to smoke gank right now, or are they waiting for critical items on the Lifestealer, waiting for the blink on the Magnus or whatnot?
They're going to be a lot more independent in this like 10-minute marker for Limp. Like his movement is going to be everything for Alliance on the early phase. So whenever he has Omni Slash or he feels like this is a good spin rotation or something, he can move around the map. But those other heroes, like the Magus that we talked about, we need to have Blink Dagger first before we start grouping up or doing anything like that for Alliance.
Z-Freak coming in with the Moonlight Shadow. Jonas is going to be pretty close to his tower. It's going to be an ambitious gank if they go for it. Of course, no Ghost Ship to help out there, but Z-Freak's torrents have been on point all day.
Yeah, they've got the Beastmaster Roar to be able to set up the torrent, so it could be a pretty easy kill, because then he wouldn't be able to skewer back.
Oh, Swindle's going to be hit by the Earth Spike here, just going in to try to ward, but once again out of position, and there's really no one that can come and help him. Seems like Monkeys would most certainly go down as well if he popped in, so unfortunately, the Oracle goes down again consecutively.
I feel like by the third death, you should know that they have a ward inside of that area of the jungle and are seeing you every single time you rotate across the neutral. I feel like the third time the light bulb should go on and be like, yeah, they know about this, and he shouldn't ever make that kind of rotation by himself, or at least without some sort of game plan.
Yeah, so not only does the Oracle die, but Alliance clearly know that Oracle was there for a reason, popped down a sentry, and are able to de-ward as well.
Yeah, so now Alliance have given themselves space for the Lifestealer. The aggro tri lane just inevitably begins to fall apart and has to rotate out. You can't keep that tri lane forever. Usually tri lanes only, aggro tri lanes usually only last 5 to 6 minutes. So they'll now have Monkeys forever in the mid lane up against the Juggernaut. Cancel can go ahead and roam around a little bit. He can play a little bit of the neutral creep area. He can smoke up with his 2 supports, make some ganks happen. They know that Alliance is dependent on the Blink Dagger, and that's why I would say that that is the #1 target right now. Prevents the initiation, the big initiation wombo combo of like Magnus going in with the Lifestealer invested inside. You know, that RP infest combination is guaranteed killer. So the longer they can delay that Blink Dagger, the better.
Arrow a little bit off the mark there from Cancel, still leaping forward. They want to get something done here. Hex off, but Handskin just gets blown up. Jonas, not enough time to get there and try to save his ally.
Beastmaster, I think off of that, will be able to push into this tier 1 tower, knowing they just got to pick off an Lion, and he's got a support to be able to bolster him. So this is a great thing. If they can give space to the Beastmaster as well, right? Not only is the Magnus a high priority target, but if they give space to Beastmaster, he starts taking towers and such, so this just speeds up the Beastmaster's time. Oh, nice kill by Limp, though.
Yeah, Limp just going in, really calculating out that damage, and will finish off Monkeys. Meanwhile, Moo, he's got max little boars, almost necros, so this tower is going down very easily, but the double man Earth Spike, there's going to be a rotation in from EGM. Can they actually get this done? The Infest Bomb pops out a little bit early. They're able to clear out the creeps and keep this tower up, but not able to find any kills in Complexity.
Yeah, that was a pretty heavy rotation by Alliance, but I do kind of like it. I talked about how important it was to be able to keep those tier 1 towers alive, so you can get that basic amount of farm for your 2 cores. In some ways, Alliance I think Complexity actually...
Oh,
Nice.
RP onto Monkeys. Can they actually get him down here? This would be phenomenal, keeping him down for 2 deaths in a row consecutively, and it looks like they should be able to find it. So now it's Monkeys dead for, you know, a total of a minute, not farming, not pushing. Is that pretty detrimental to Complexity?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, very much so. I feel like Complexity... Maybe they should have rotated that Trine lane a little bit sooner, because he's only level 4. He's so under-leveled for a Terrorblade, you know? And Beastmaster could just as easily jungle as he can lane. So I don't think it was required for them to keep the Beastmaster in a solo lane for so long, and we're beginning to see the effects on Monkeys' farm. But then again, we're also seeing the effects on our Beastmaster here. Moo, way ahead of the pack, and compared to everyone else.
Yeah, Moo, he's doing really well. He's a great initiator. He's still saving up that Primal Roar and now focusing on the top lane. He can easily chip that down. He's got some pretty nasty split push coming in with those Necros flying through, so I'm excited for that. Now, Swindles, once again, goes to ward without vision, and it will be finished off again.
Yeah, he seems to have quite the knack stumbling into Alliance's vision.
I mean, it's also just really good in Alliance. Their vision's pretty alright right now, and they are able to find exactly what they need here. We got some wards sitting there. Purge would be very glad that those are Gem TD wards. And just going in, and it seems like Alliance are pretty in control of the map in the overall momentum of the game right now.
Yeah, I would feel very happy if I was Alliance.
Oh, Swindles once again going in all by himself. His teammates aren't there, and it looks like he might get saved by the Mirana's Moonlight Shadow for now. In fact, there is a boar there to try to help him out. They do have that Primal Roar on Moo if absolutely necessary. This time, Swindles was safe.
And they're still going to be able to get the gank. Apparently, with the Roar, then the +1 with the Torrent looks like an easy kill onto Loda. That's very big. The fact that they brought Z-Freak up here, and then they're going to be able to pressure the Tier 1 tower, that is the danger. Complexity they can punish you for these sort of mistakes by taking objectives so quickly. Even though they don't have a Terrorblade that's farmed at all, he's still under-leveled. We're showing just the power of Beastmaster and the way he's able to punish you and push down towers.
Yeah, let's take a look at the overall net worths here. Amu should be, no doubt, doing pretty well. But I want to, you know, Mirana is doing all right. Going to be sitting on some okay items, but not going to be finishing off that Aghanim Scepter. And I think that's really a go point. We talked about Terrorblade being so stunted, lacking on damage, and now it looks like he might be going down again. They know where he is. Limp just eating through the trees, goes for the TP out. Can they find him in time? Hell yeah, that's an RP. No expense spared to keep Monkeys forever severely malnourished right now. He's still level 5 at 12 minutes in the game.
All right, Complexity got to be fast with this rotation. A full wraparound behind the tower before Alliance can make the rotations back. They could take this Tier 1 and maybe even pick off EGM. It can somewhat make up for the loss of the Terrorblade here.
Looks like EGM is going to get arrowed and torrented in, but they'd rather focus their attention on the structures here. And now Loda moving forward, a little bit of an early rage. Yeah, they're going to be going in, and there is going to be the Hex cancel. Will be stunned in place by the Chaotic Offering and the Earth Spike to keep him down. The Ghost Ship comes in from Kunkka. Is that going to be enough here? Lion walking backwards. And looks like Loda will retreat as well.
Yeah, Complexity just seemed to have really missed the mark in the laning phase, and I am struggling to see how, like, Cancel's not, like, so far ahead that he's going to be able to be this, like, massive space creator. And yes, they can win one fight and then just push objectives, but this is getting less and less likely. I'm seeing Alliance, like, very rapidly closing in on key items. Yonosampan is about to pick up that Blink Dagger. Lifestealer, it hasn't been that far shut down. He's sitting at 4,300 gold. That's not too bad. If he picks up his armlet here in the next 2 or 3 minutes, he'll still be able to have a huge impact as an active fighting core. And again, that'll be able to create a lot of space for Limp. And they can sort of trade off in that regard. Sometimes Lifestealer can play the jungle and just farm away on Ancients and stuff, and they can move around with Yonosampan and the Juggernaut, and then occasionally it'll be Loda creating space for the Juggernaut. So they can play this back and forth game, and they can play pretty active into Complexity, knowing that if they can just force defensive metamorphoses and early Necronomicons that are not used to take objectives, they can easily punish Complexity.
This stack is going to be phenomenal for Complexity if they're able to get it, and it looks like they're clearing it out faster than Alliance can come in and contest, but they've now rotated in. It looks like Complexity knows something's up. They're going to Moonlight Shadow and try to get away, but will their greed get the best of them here? The arrow comes in. Will clip onto the Lion. Loda now moving forward, but the Ghost shift on top of a really nice torrent, just polishes off the Lion. Now EGM running for his life. I don't know if he's going to get away. Even with the Shadow Word, there's not enough heal. Meanwhile, the Omni Slash will finish off Swindles. And they're looking for more here. The RP clipping onto 2, and a really nice shockwave to follow up. Leap away, but Mirana not able to make it to the high ground. One more hit will be enough to finish off Cancel. Can they connect? Looks like Juggernaut is able to do so. So triple kill for Limp. It's Alliance dropping both their supports, but Complexity really punished for their greed here.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Complexity had the greatest plan there. It's like they stumbled into an ancient stack and were like, oh guys, we can take this, but they can't really do it that quickly.
I mean,
and Alliance, very clearly, it's about the time where Alliance are ready to fight, right? If it wasn't right now, it was going to be like 1 or 2 minutes later. That's not a risk that you should try and take. Just because you don't know the Blink Dagger isn't up on Yono Sunfun, you should kind of expect it to be around that time. And they get punished pretty heavily for trying to make this big play. And that's what I'm seeing, is Complexity just over and over getting punished for these things that they're just not really noticing. You know, like the wards being put up by Alliance, the 4th time that Swindles has died up there in the top lane. Like, those are small little advantages that you're bleeding away to Alliance that is going to make their mid game hit so much harder, and they're going to be able to just crowd up the map, take objectives, and they're going to be able to keep this Terrorblade from making any kind of progression because he already had kind of a slow start.
Yeah, Monkeys is definitely all aboard the struggle bus here. He's got an Ochre Club. Is that going to be Dragonlance? Is he going for a super early BKB?
He's got to get a Dragon.
Yeah, okay, Z-Free. He's going to go for the Torrent here, but of course the Magic Community from Limp will prevent Juggernaut from getting out of there, and the Fusel Blade shown off, and, well, 3 hits and the Admiral's dead.
Yeah, Limp is getting into a position where he can almost like solo carry this game.
He's feeling really, really good. And again, we talked about Alliance's dual core lineup, so Loda's still got some survivability. Well, Caster's Curse as he dies there in the top lane.
Just really well set up by Complexity.
Oh, they're trying to turn this around. Swindles might be in some trouble. They are going to bring in Limp as well. With the phase group, there's going to be that skewer back and should be easy pickings. Now the Golem is up. They're not going to be able to get some push off this. Was that an overzealous EGM chaotic offering?
I wouldn't say, not necessarily, because he might have actually escaped if he hadn't thrown out that chaotic offering. He just wanted to make sure they caught
nice
something
timing
there.
here. Limp taking a little bit of damage, but of course with that Empower, he's got that built-in Battle Fury, so he's free to go for an early defusal. He's going to be picking up most likely a Manta pretty soon, and not really feeling any sort of lack of farm.
Yeah, this is the dangerous part of the Magnus pick, where it's normally been picked up mid lately. If you can fit it into the offlane position, fit it into 3 position net worth, then you are just boosting up your 1 and 2 positions farm so quickly in this time, right? That 15-minute marker where they finally have enough damage to be able to clear through camps and take advantage of the Empower levels, they just get boosted up to that 10k net worth so much faster than the enemy's cores, especially since Complexity have not managed to actually get any control of this map. You know, despite being the ones like pushing the early towers, and like they took that tier 1 at bottom really quickly, tier 1 at top fall not too long ago, but it just does not seem that they maintain that control. Even with the aggressive vision, they weren't able to make a whole lot of work. Something that does have to fall back into Cancel. He's been playing a lot more of a farm-oriented game, trying to get his Aghanim Scepter, and he hasn't had the luckiest time a go at it either. In some of these team fights, he's just been the immediate target, taken down by disables, and that has slowed down his progression items as well. They need to connect big time with the team fight here.
He's smoked up. It looks like he's going in, trying to be aggressive here. He does have his Sunder, which is probably what he's going to try to initiate with, but if Alliance scout this out, if Alliance get the upper hand, Monkeys is 1 shot from death.
Yeah, with that Blink Dagger on Limp, plus having Omni Slash and Cleave.
Well, Hanskin's pretty close to a Blink Dagger, so this would be a great kill to get. It would really start to slow down the Lion. Monkey's getting in there, looking for that Sunder. Will be able to find it. Wild Axe is flying through. Lion looks like he should be a dead man there. Will get cleaned off, and that's going to be some well-deserved gold going to the Terrorblade.
That reminded me of the old Lothar's Terrorblade strategy. You kind of feed some of your HP points to Roshan, then you Lothar's out, and then you pop out with that invis and Sunder and just beat down that hero real quickly. It's a good kill, and it'll turn into a tier 2 tower in exchange for Alliance getting the Roshan, but I still feel like that was not a kill that changes the game in any way. Like, it slows down the Blink Dagger, yes, but ultimately, should you be worried about a Lion Blink Dagger at 18 minutes? That already says enough about the game, I think.
I mean, it gets Monkeys some absolutely necessary farm. It makes him feel a little bit useful, getting that morale up, because he is having a pretty difficult game.
Yeah, this is Beastmaster and Mirana. They're sort of like semi-carries. They can output a decent amount of damage themselves, but they really need a big
Here we go. Looks like they're just going to go in. Swindle's in some serious trouble. There will be the Primal Roar, but follow up with the RP, with the Shockwave. There's going to be a Ghost Ship coming in, so that's some decent Coco's Rum splashing out. Chaotic Offering coming in, stuns off the two. They're focusing down Monkeys. They know he doesn't have his Thunder, and there's not much he can do. He goes for the TP out, but they've got the damage. They've got the stuns. It will be a kill on the Terror Blade now. Z-Freak going to be able to X back the Magnus. Should be able to preserve his own life, but it's already a 0 for 3 in favor of Alliance right now.
Yeah, they could just go straight down mid now. Complexity are just going to be struggling to find space to work with. As soon as Alliance starts taking objectives, this game is going to go south very quickly for Complexity. They were a team that was dependent on being able to have control from the laning phase moving forward. And there's going to be these intermittent periods where Alliance could get a connect with a successful gank, but they should have ultimately been able to hold that 25-minute marker. But the way this net worth chart is leading, Alliance is going to have clear control of the mid game, and they'll transition much faster into late game territory. Again, thanks to all the space that they have and the farming efficiency that's granted by the Magnus.
Yeah, we talked about earlier in the lanes how Loda was making some slow progress, got killed twice fairly early on, but this Juggernaut is just soaring. He's top of the net worth chart by a very large margin. Mirana not going to be able to bring as much impact into these team fights aside from just, hey, Ags, double Starstorm, cool, but Alliance are now just bringing so much more raw damage. It seems like they're more comfortable initiating with double blinks now, and Complexity are very much playing defensively. They're playing on the back foot. They're reacting to what Alliance are putting out, and that's not what you want with a draft like Complexity have.
Yeah, we had this discussion. Well, hold on. We're going to have a Moonlight Shadow and probably some sort of weird initiation.
There are very few ults on Alliance right now, so if you're going to strike by Complexity, this is the time to do it. When you have no Chaotic Offering, no Omni, no RP.
Yeah, they know, though. The Observer Ward just got placed while the Sentry still had vision in that area. So they saw that, actually, the Observer Ward being placed, so they know it's like a Smoke or Moonlight Shadow gank that's being set up. They're just going to play real passive until they know the gank is gone. Unfortunate scenario for Complexity, but that's just the problem. When you start getting pressured like this, it becomes a whole lot easier for Alliance to be able to read the few offensive moves that Complexity can make.
Alright, so Juggernaut's having the time of his life, picks up a blink. Is he going to go back for Manta now? Just get that old classic Jug build online?
Yeah, I think that could be a fine build. Basher instead. I think he's like, at this point in time, you can kind of go whatever you want.
There's a Lifestealer bomb. They just want to dump it out onto the brothers there. They're going to go in for Z-Freak and Skewer, and they're finding that line of sight, and they are able to get the RP. There's the Infest. It looks like no time for Kunkka to do anything to save his life, and they are able to get the Yules off as well. Moo in some trouble, going to get open wounds up. Looking to turn and try to fight this, but the Primal Roar can't connect on both, and instead he sits, he holds his ult, and will just give his life away. So again, Alliance with an 0 for 3 trade, really making the most out of their map control.
Yeah, this seems to be a pretty straightforward win from Alliance from here on out. They just make sure they don't do anything silly and feed away any kills, but they just play the occasional pick-off game. They can even go for some 5-manning when they have the Roshan, they get the Aegis, and they have Chaotic Offering.
On to cancel. They know something's up. Lion's going to blink forward. They are able to get the Hex. The Frog leaps away, but they should be able to find him. Actually not able to connect with the Earth Spike, so Cancel will escape death narrowly for now.
Oh, Monkeys.
Monkeys.
Even without that RP, they can still go for that gank.
And they're looking for Cancel as well. Has the leap back on ready to go. So again, they do have the leap. Can Mirana actually get out of this in time? Is going to be leaping forward into the trees. Goes for the TP out. Can they find him in time? They get the Yules, and that's going to be another kill onto the Mirana. Loda gets low, but still feeling phenomenal. Meanwhile, Juggernaut just styling. Doesn't even have to commit his Omni Slash, finding kills left and right here. It's looking like Alliance are about to eliminate Complexity from this tournament.
Yeah, they really are. It's a gigantic net worth lead. They can finally start 5-manning up. They still have the Chaotic Offering as well as the Omni Slash to use. I just like the fact that Alliance just made a really good play there. Yes, they got the Invis rune and they can manage to get a gank on top, but it's the fact that they turned that gank up at top lane to an immediate pressure push onto bottom lane and catching out the carry of the Terror Blade. It was very quickly, the speed of that gank caught Monkeys completely off guard. Then they get that core kill. Next thing you know, they've taken a tier 2. They've done a little damage to the tier 3, and they didn't even have their Desolator push yet. Like, the Alliance's like really big mid-game peak is when they have Desolator, and then they have an Aegis in their hands, and potentially even waiting for... Oh, actually, EGM went for the Force Staff, so we're not going to have an Aghanim Scepter or anything like that anytime soon. So I guess it's just the Desolator and the Aegis. Like, that's when they can really start punishing towers nice and early, and they still scale very well, like we've mentioned before. It's just looking like this Terrorblade is never going to get into a position where he is a threat to the Lifestealer like he should have been. Like, theoretically, this hero is very good versus Lifestealer.
Yeah, I mean, right now Alliance definitely have superior team fight. They've got great map control, they've got great initiations. coL still do have that pocket ace up their sleeve. They got Moo with Necro 3s and, of course, a very accomplished Beastmaster. How real of a threat is that split push for Alliance?
I mean, it's all about the initiation. If Beastmaster can find the lead Primal Roar onto a core and they can burst him down, great, but it's not looking like they can.
Smoke gonna pop. They know something's up. They're pinging out the high ground there, and again, there is gonna be a Lifestealer inside of Jonas, so again, a really nice Blink Skewer RP could be phenomenal. They're going to start out with a Hex. Will that be enough? Z-Freak going to get purged off, and will get healed there. Oracle a little bit ambitious with the ult. They're just starting to do damage here, skewering him back up to the high ground, splitting him off from the herd. There's going to be a ghost ship thrown out in panic, but is it really going to be enough there? Loda, you can see him just ripping them apart, and there's going to be a chaotic offering. Everyone's starting to drop on complexity. They're trying to get down to the low ground. Looks like Z-Freak will be able to TP out a Torrent, stopping the damage for now, but a Warlock already getting off his Golem and going down is definitely worthwhile to get down 3 more complexity heroes.
They still have that Omni Slash. Limp is like, guys, you're making this way too easy. I don't even have to use my ultimate in any of these fights. Like, they've won the fight so convincingly because of the fact that they're getting the initiations every single time. Complexity don't have the greatest heroes to respond when they're initiated on. Right? It's like the fact that they need Beastmaster to be able to get the Primal Roar off Necronomicon minion to threaten one of those core. Maybe even bring it down immediately in the beginning of a fight. And then they also have this Kunkka who's very poor at being able to react to ganks, right? How can you hit a ship when the enemy heroes are already on top of you?
Man, look how quickly that tower starts to melt. A combination of Limp's raw damage and Loda's Desolator. That thing is just not long for this world. Fortify coming out, Complexity buying themselves a little time, but I think it's pretty clear that when Alliance want to fight, Complexity will go down.
Yeah. They make that high ground push without Aegis. They can back up, control the map, get some good vision around the Roshan pit, and wait for that Roshan since it should be up in the next 1 to 3 minutes. And Complexity will have to go for, first of all, a fast push up at top lane right now, just to try and get that push going around the Roshan spawn time. And then to be able to get some sort of smoke rotation that catches Alliance finally off guard. Despite having Moonlight Shadow, despite using smokes and stuff, I can't remember a gank, a rotation that has actually successfully caught Alliance off guard.
Well, they had that one up top when Lion was just about to get his Blink Dagger, and Monkeys walked in with the Sunder, but since then, I mean, you really hate to beat a dead horse here, but Monkeys is just not bringing the damage his team desperately needs.
Yeah, I think in some parts they didn't set him up for success, but in other parts he's just failing to make the reads on how quickly Alliance can threaten him. He's got to spend a little bit more time maybe in the jungle. I'm not sure. It's just a tough game to play around as a Terrorblade when you have an over-farmed Lifestealer and Juggernaut to deal with a Magnus ready to initiate on you as well.
Yeah, Alliance definitely keeping Complexity on their toes as they have been all game. The rotations are super on point, and in our earlier series today where Complexity were knocked down to the lower bracket, we saw Z-Freak's Kunkka being phenomenal at aggressive rotations, aggressive torrents, but he's playing much more defensively now because he knows his team just doesn't have follow-up damage.
Yeah, he's defensive Kunkka is a sad one.
It really is, man.
At this point, I like what Alliance is doing, right? They're not making any errors when it comes to positioning. Like, they're not, like when they needed to push back that top lane, they pushed it away from their tier 3 tower, but did not step 1 foot outside of that base. They're grouped up around the mid lane, hiding around their tier 2 tower, making sure there's no easy smoke pickoffs, and now they're going to push off as a crew together, find the Kunkka.
Oh, he's got an X on himself. Nope, not going to be living long enough to get that one off.
Rough times.
It's just the burst from Alliance is so there. It takes Juggernaut like 3 slashes of his sword to go through even the tankiest Complexity heroes right now. He's got a full Abyssal right now and over 1,000 more gold to work with.
Yeah, Cancel has his Blink Dagger Ags, but this is as a mid, Mirana is very bad at carrying the game from this sort of position. Like, you have to be ahead. That's why when the Aghanims, like, the Aghanims gets you ahead because it's a natural farming item, and it's a really great mid-game booster, right? It gets you hero kills, it manages to farm up all these neutral camps or pushes out waves really quickly, and it gets you to that ethereal blade, and maybe you see the Dagon, or maybe you go for the physical damage build. Either way, like, you always have a net worth lead over the enemy cores because they just can't farm as fast as you, but obviously this is not the case when Alliance have been handling Complexity for the last 20 minutes.
Lincoln's on Loda. I do want to point out that I like what Complexity are doing right now. They're realizing that their own side of the map is constantly getting pushed in, and oh gosh, spare that thought there. As I was going to say, it's nice for Complexity to be farming up the enemy jungle with all that vision, but unfortunately they're still caught off guard, and Moo just gets completely dropped.
Yeah, they don't really, they know there's no way that Complexity can push the high ground at top lane, so they can let that lane be pushed in over and over again and not really set any heroes in danger, because your safe lane is just going to be occupied oftentimes. It's kind of a dangerous place to be.
Loda. He was going hunting, gets stunned up by an arrow, but again, Complexity just can't follow that up.
And they just occasionally go in, punish a hero that's trying to push that top lane. They'll finally see, hey, Roshan's up. They've got some vision around it. They've got a nice, good, aggressive ward near that ramp on the left-hand side.
Complexity,
they need.
They get vision of this, and clearly they cannot go for a roast stop right now. There's ultis for days left on Alliance. They've got so much more team fight, but it does give an opportunity for the rest of Complexity to try to split push and at least try to make some way onto these tier 2 towers.
And the thing is, they've got such good physical damage on Alliance is that they could just as easily let Juggernaut do it solo and have Lifestealer inside of the Magnus, and they could like try and punish someone pushing bottom or something like that. Like, Complexity still play relatively scared. You saw Z-Freak used his shift to be able to push out that bottom lane because Terrorblade did not feel comfortable doing it by himself. He went back to the Radiant jungle and tried to take the much safer farm, but safer farm at this point in the game will not get you a lead, obviously. He is sitting at still 8,000 gold, still not hitting that 10k marker as a carry by 30 minutes. I don't have any metrics to give you, Annie, because I'm not a stats person, but I'm going to say it's real bad.
Yeah, he's under-farmed, under-leveled, and just really not filling that role that his team desperately needs, which is the big initiator, the big core, right-clicky damage, crazy push coming out of him, but in this game it seems like Terrorblade just wasn't the pick. Was there anything you would have liked to see instead, or was it just a laning fault?
I think there were some laning faults, but I thought their draft was fine. I think they just did not make the right kind of rotations and stuck around a little bit too much in the laning phase, let Terrorblade fall behind too much. There was just a lot of individual things that went wrong. What I really like about Alliance is that they are not bleeding anything away. They're playing very safe, they're playing together, they know Complexity can't come back in this game unless it's through repeated pickoffs, and they even do a little bit to guard themselves from those pickoffs, like the Lincolns on the Lifestealer. He's only really threatened by that Primal Roar in this game, and not even that much can cut through the Lifestealer anymore. Now they require like some weird Oracle initiation that pops the Lincolns into the immediate Primal Roar, like weird situations that just don't really exist in a common team fight.
The Moonlight Shadow coming in. There is a sentry ward right here scouting him out, and you just see Cancel running around like a chicken with his head cut off. He just can't do anything here. There's going to be a blink away from our Beastmaster, but unfortunately it looks like Swindles will get handled again, and that's a godlike streak out for Limp. Alliance showing no signs of slowing down. Moo just running for his life here. His TP's on cooldown, so he's just blinking as fast as he can back towards friendly territory. Will he be able to get away with this? Magnus keeping that chase going, and there is going to be...
the Yules, so...
I mean, look at Limp. He's just so speedy. They're going to bring in Loda as well just to start pressuring the tower. So even if they can't get the kill, which, well, they're going to, they will get a structure as well. So there's the Abyssal dropped out. There is more than enough damage. Primal Roar committed as well, but that is not going to be enough to stop the pain.
Good times ahead for Alliance. They can take all these objectives. They can get an AC on the Lifestealer if they want to. Magnus has got more gold than he ever knew what to deal with. You know, Magnus doesn't actually require that much farm if you're playing this kind of utility.
Monkeys trying to TP out. Do they have any stuns? No, the Abyssal Blade not going to be available just yet, so he will get out safely. But he was Metamorphosis up, and that's just another Metamorphosis that has to sit back and wait till it comes back off cooldown before he can push again.
Yeah, we talked about it. We didn't really get to see this concept in action, just because Alliance rolled over Complexity so quickly, but...
Swindles? Oh, there he goes. Up to the base. He's fine.
you want to force those defensive metamorphosis, kind of like a Death Prophet, you know? You don't want to give him the opportunity to push into you, use metamorphosis, win the team fight.
Oh, this is a bad sign there. Your mid Mirana can't even get down your support. They're going to commit an RP for this as well as a chaotic offering, but oh, that cat's dead.
Yeah, like, if you look at Complexity, how can they punish you for missing those ultimates? You know, it's not like all of a sudden Complexity are like, all right, guys, they don't have RP or Chaotic Offering, let's go. You know, they're still so far behind that they can't actually fight Alliance. So Alliance should be able to take this lane of Rax with ease, or at least force the buyback, and there it goes.
Moo thinking about screaming there. Look at the stun up on the Jug, but what's the follow-up with that? They're going to bring in the Necros. There's a Torrent, but he actually gets swooped through the air. Limp knows what it's like to fly right now. Monkeys half health, looking for perhaps a Sunder to start things off, but there's just too many big beefy targets, and now Lincoln Spear popped. Loda still feeling healthy. They're going to pop a Dust to make sure no Moonlight Shadow heroes are right behind them. Cancel comes back up to the high ground. Loda, again, just raging, munching through this Rax. There is no more Fortify as it was spent in the last couple of seconds, and oh, it looks like at least one lane of Super Creeps going to start to batter towards Complexity.
Oh, that'll catch our Lightstealer by surprise.
Again, he still has an Aegis, so it is a very, very ambitious target. They're going to be moving forward there. Swindle just destroyed, and the arrow flying right through Loda as he is going to be magic immune. Gem picked up by the Warlock, and now it looks like Alliance are not going to back off. They're going straight in for this bottom lane as the creep wave is already pushing in. Complexity, they've got one shot to stop this, but they've got no Primal Roar. They've got a really underfarmed Terrorblade, and all they can seem to do is just break Loda's Lincolns. He's still got a second life if they get him down here. Alliance escaping unscathed. Loda, a little bit worse for wear, but he can get healed up, and of course, as the life stealer, he can just go and
Are they really just gonna keep going? Like, they have so much gold still. That's the really demeaning part, is that they have a whole nother round of tier 4 items to be taken up, but they're still gonna try and push a second lane of Rax.
Yeah, they're going in the upheaval, keeping everyone safe. Z-Freak coming in and out, just to try to harass, get those Tidebringers rolling, but it's barely tickling Alliance right now.
So they can have an AC, they can still have a Shiva's, Juggernaut can have whatever he wanted. Did he pick up an item? This trackpad is not letting me get to the courier.
He's got a Butterfly.
Alright, there we go. Butterfly. Like, he could get a Divine Rapier if he wanted to.
It's a little bit YOLO here. We know Alliance like to play a little bit more reserved, a little bit more disciplined.
Yes, they have been playing a very safe game, and I applaud them for that. They very clearly recognize their win conditions and the win conditions of the enemy. They say, hey, the Complexity can really only take this game back through pickoff, so we stick together and we punish them for those attempts at a pickoff every once in a while. Nice hit, though.
Arrow is going to connect. Can they actually focus Loda down? Hanson coming back in. The boat is going to be going through, and there's going to be an Omni Slash as Mirana just gets completely dumpstered. They commit the finger for that. They're going to be facing a little bit less damage moving forward. Swindles is going to get munched down on the back line, so there's going to be the Chaotic Offering coming in, and it looks like everyone's starting to fall. Complexity, their buybacks are few and far between. Can they even get back into this game before it's all over?
No. No, they cannot. Alliance will. The only thing stopping them from ending this game is potentially the tier 2 at the top lane, but they still have 50 seconds on cancel. They know he doesn't have buyback, so they could just go straight throne. Complexity
not going to tap out until it's completely over. Again, this is an elimination match, so if Alliance end up taking this match, which, oh, there we go. Complexity, this is the end of their journey in the Northern Arena BEAT Invitational.
Yeah, they see the writing on the wall. They know their throne is done for, and there's nothing they can do to stop it. Alliance, they look pretty good in comparison to Complexity, right? Complexity managed to take a game off of eHome, and Alliance had to face up against Evil Geniuses. I think most of the teams at this tournament would look quite poor against